Hello, and welcome back to the Fans Corner. Once again, I'm joined by Fred. Fred, how's your Monday going, mate?
It's not going too bad, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Lockdown Monday. Not really doing much apart from getting the podcast notes down.
Yeah, we'll soon be out of this
But
lockdown. Not too long.
yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully. But I think it's only right to start the podcast off with Canelo versus Yildirim. For us, Sunday morning, but Saturday for you in America. What do you think of the whole fight as such, Fred?
It was a bit of a fast, like when the actual fight itself, but you can understand why it happened because he needed kind of that refresher fight to keep him going. And Yildirim, was it Yildirim mandatory or was it just
I think he
knocked him
was.
out?
I don't know if it was mandatory. It might have been mandatory. I know for he was ranked number one by the WBC. I think it was, or the
Yeah,
WBO. I'm not too sure, but it was one of them.
yeah.
But
So
that's how he got his shot.
I don't really know how he got into that position, but he was nowhere near the level of Canelo, and
No,
he definitely showed it in that fight. With it was almost like he couldn't throw punches. You never saw Yildirim hurt Canelo. You never saw Yildirim ever push Canelo back. It was just Canelo coming onto him for the whole fight.
I mean, I think I saw Yildirim land one or two significant, actual punches to Canelo. Other than that, it was just all Canelo landing body shots after body shots,
Mm.
knocking him down in the third, forcing him to quit, and he stole in the third.
Yeah,
I
did you
remember
see the
watching.
him and his trainer in the corner? When
Yeah,
I was
do you know?
listening
Do you
to
know
them,
what I was?
it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Do you know what it was? Because I was watching it, and he kept on saying, "Like, this is it. Like, one more round, and I'm pulling you out." But he wasn't
Mm.
responding, and I was like, "Is he not responding? Because like he's just all over the place, or does he generally not want to fight?" And to me, that just shows how much Canelo can take out of you. I mean, what 3 rounds that took him.
Mm.
I know he's not the best fighter, the best of fighters, Yildirim, but you saw his fans out in Turkey believed he could do it. I mean, none of us really thought he would do it because of the losses he's got in his record. But in
Mm.
boxing, you never know. But yeah, it's certainly a lackluster performance from Yildirim. Um, with Canelo
Sets up the
once again
big one, don't it?
triumphant. Yep,
Big, Billy
exactly.
Joe.
With at the end, Eddie. One of the main reasons I stayed up for it, to be honest. Eddie Earn announced that their Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders is May the 8th, Cinco de Mayo, as it
Mm.
didn't happen last year, did it, due to coronavirus. And he said, Eddie said, gonna go big this year with it. So I'm just looking forward to that very, very much, Fred. Don't know about you.
Yeah,
Can't
I think
wait for that fight.
should be a good, build up, spectacle, fight week. Everything about it just, makes me look forward to it. You have Billy Joe
Uh-huh.
Saunders, who's just an entertaining fighter, you know, in and outside the ring. He has his controversies here and there, but he can talk, he can fight. You've got it all really, and then you've got Canelo, who's this massive champion, and almost seen to be, other than Floyd Mayweather, you can't beat this guy. But
Yeah,
definitely an intriguing contest, definitely looking forward to it.
without a doubt. Did you say? I think you said it to me, didn't you? That Billy Joe Saunders' life, the
Oh
morning
yeah,
after. I think
so
was he in
he
Spain
tweeted,
or
didn't he?
somewhere?
He tweeted before
Yeah, he
the
tweeted
fight actually
before. Yeah,
happened,
obviously. Yeah, he went to
and
bed. I
he's
think.
yeah, said that'd been a bit hard if he got knocked out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, could you imagine that? Yeah, yeah. You'll know the date in the morning.
Yeah.
Yildirim knocks
I wonder
Canelo out.
what happens then, do you reckon? If say the impossible does happen, he ends up getting
That
sparked
it
out.
sets
Do they
it
still
sets it
announce it,
back. Really.
or is it? Oh,
No,
there's
like,
got to
I
be some
mean,
sort of clause, I reckon, in the contract that says, if Canelo does not win this fight, contract's invalid, and
it was
therefore he
kind
has
of
to.
it was kind of the same thing with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua, wasn't it? Because everyone thought, oh, Anthony Joshua's going to get past Andy Ruiz, and
Yeah,
then Wilder versus Joshua is going to happen. Mate, it weren't set dates, but it's going to happen.
yeah.
And that fight never happened because Ruiz lost. So,
Yeah, so
yeah, Canelo certainly
they may
couldn't
have
book
just had
a.
to do the rematch and then obviously push the fight back.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But
Luckily, it didn't.
certainly will be an intriguing encounter. But going on from that, last week it was announced that Triller had bought the rights, well, one purse bids for Lopez, sorry, versus Cambosos Jr.
Mm.
What do you think of that, Fred?
It's a big
Bit
statement.
surprising, isn't it?
We get Triller have put on, is it 1 or 2 events, and
They've
it
only
was
put one on. It
it
was
was
Mike
only
Tyson
one.
versus Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. That was that silly exhibition bout.
Yeah, with
I'm
Jake
pretty
Paul
sure
on the
there's only been
undercard.
one.
And you do
Yeah,
kind of wonder, I know Jake Paul is Jake Paul's next fight with Ben Askren on Triller as well? It might be.
it's odd. I think it's on Triller. Yeah, I think it's April sometime. But there
Mm.
was speculation that it would be a co-main event of that fight. But
Yeah,
the Triller's Ryan Kavanaugh has basically come out and said that it will be its own pay-per-view fight. So I respect him for that. But personally, I'm still not struck on the whole thing because the fact that I think they're making a bit of a mockery to boxing by doing these exhibition fights, doing these YouTube fights. It's like,
well, they overpaid for it massively, didn't they? You think what top rank bid 2 million, was it, and then
so
Matchroom
yeah, it was,
bid
so
3 million.
Triller won the purse with a bid of 6 million and 18 grand. Matchroom just coming behind with 3,506,000. 3,506,000, and Top Rank with 2,315,000. So there is a gap between that. Then it's clear that Triller are quite, financially well off if they're putting 6 million bids in for the fights. But
will they make the money back? Because are people that bothered about? I mean, obviously, Lopez got a brilliant win against Lomachenko, who, that was a big fight. But Lopez Cambosos, I just don't see the kind of appeal to it.
No. Personally, I wouldn't pay for it. I wouldn't pay for it. It's what to me. It's one of them fights that would just be on. Like obviously Sky Sports have their fights. Like with, say for instance, I like a champion versus someone. I know they're both undefeated, but Cambosos he beat a didn't he? I think he beat Scott Quick.
Lee
was
Selby.
it?
Lee Selby.
That's it. Lee Selby. Yeah, it was Lee Selby. It must have been Lee Selby. He looked good in that, but he didn't look.
It's not a pay-per-view worthy fight.
Greatest today.
It's not pay-per-view worthy over here anyway.
No, it's not pay-per-view worthy without a doubt. No. Pay-per-view worthy. You've got people like Dylan White when he fought Rivas. That was no way a pay-per-view fight. And the only pay-per-view fight that I think in the future will be a pay-per-view fight is obviously Canelo versus Leo Saunders and Fury Joshua. They're two main fights that I will happily pay 20 quid for because I want to see it, and it's going to have a decent undercard with it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this when I kind of saw they revealed the fight. It didn't have any Sky Sports kind of branding on it. No, Sky didn't mention it, or they might have. Did Sky mention it?
What's that? The Canelo fight?
Yeah, the Canelo Billy Joe Saunders. So it may even be on the zone. If it's on the zone, I don't think they charge pay per view. It just if they can kind of get that. Yeah, but if they can kind of somehow get the rights in the UK, because I don't know if the rights in the UK have been done for that fight. Because if Eddie says, it's probably Eddie's decision if he wants it in the zone or Sky. And if he says the zone, it could be kind of a big statement out to Sky that, they're no longer, especially the American fights, they're no longer the chosen broadcaster.
Do you know what I think will happen? There'll be Sky will be the English broadcaster and the Zone will be the worldwide broadcaster. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
I think.
But then if it works out, why wouldn't Matchroom say, we want all our stuff on the Zone now? It's probably cheaper.
Yeah.
With subscriptions cheaper than Sky Sports for their Matchroom fans, so they're willing to pay £2 a month compared to what I don't know what Sky is, 20 quid a month for the channel. And it's definitely. I believe it is 20.
The sports package, I think it's about 20 quid, but on top of that, you've got to pay box office, so you're paying 40 quid
Yeah.
for a
And
fight, pretty
so
much.
this type of fight would be box office, whereas on the zone, no
Oh,
box
100%.
office.
No, yeah.
For fans, I think, if it was to go over the zone, it's probably quite a good step in the road.
It'd be more beneficial for us as fans, 100%.
Talking about kind of Triller and Jake Paul and stuff, did you hear that Logan Paul his fight with Mayweather is now going to be on Showtime? They've changed it from that Fanmio.
Yeah, I see there was speculation of it being somewhere else. That's just a weird one.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It was so strange that kind of this
any boxing fans,
this kind of Fanmio channel. Is it even a channel? I don't really know what it is. It's
never heard it in my life.
It's a video calling. It's like I can't remember what the website is, but I'm sure you can pay for like your favorite celebrities to get little video calls from them. I'm pretty sure that's what Fanmio is. So for them to win the rights for, a fight, or let's say win the right showcase the Mayweather Logan Paul fight, it just never made sense. And then when obviously the fight was upcoming, there was no kind of, they weren't showing it, was there, on their channel or promoting it. It was just like blank. No. And it left everyone in dark. So for it to be on Showtime, you'd expect the hype to kind of build up a bit more. So for the fight itself, it's probably a good thing, but that'll be another weird one.
Yeah, it sure will. But going back to the whole Triller situation, caused quite a lot of quite a spark between Arum and Top Rank's Bob Arum and Matchroom's Eddie Hearn. It was reported that in an interview that Arum said that Hearn lost and pissed us off at the same time. He better watch out next time if he goes to purse bids with fighters who have no connection to ESPN/Top Rank, will jam a beard up his ass. I mean, so I don't see promoters going at it too much, but it kind of is. I kind of agree what Bob Arum is saying. Like, he's my fighter. What are you doing? Like, if somebody went in to win the purse bids for an Anthony Joshua fight, Eddie Hearn would be the same. He'd be like, what are you doing? Yeah. This is our fighter. So it's a bit cheap for Eddie Hearn, but
I do wonder. Don't understand how it kind of works. Like, so I always thought, you're your promoter. Well, that's what I don't know. It's difficult because are you paying purse bids? Is that paying to promote the fight, or is it paying to showcase the fight?
I'm pretty sure because it took place at the IBF headquarters because it was I think it's an IBF mandatory fight, and I think it is. I think it might be to televise it, It might be to televise it and promote it, but I don't get that if, Lopez is a top-ranked fighter. Maybe Bob Arum and him would have, joined up and gone into, when people. It's like sometimes, who's the bloke from? Is it Kelly? Is he saying Kelly Sutherland? Is it Sutherland?
Cali. Is it
Cali? That's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think it is. Like him and Eddie Hearn sometimes merge together to make fights. They did it a lot in the WBSS to make the fights. So yeah, it is a weird one for Eddie Hearn to get into that conversation. But as we all know, Eddie Hearn wants the big fights, and you can't blame him, can you, for putting in a bid? If he's allowed to put in a bid, he'll put in a bid. So, yeah, 100% caused a bit of beef between them two. But going back to boxing on Saturday night, I know you were mentioning before we even started the podcast, Tommy Fury really impressed you on the BT bill. How far do you think you can go then?
Well, firstly, I do want to say, I understand that he's fighting 0-9 fighter, was it, on the weekend? So these aren't any caliber level for him to kind of show, he's here. But you can only judge the fighter on who he's fighting and who's put in front of him. Because then, if not, you could say whatever you want about him because he might be a good fighter, might not. But from actually watching him, in his first five, he does look. He looked powerful. I think that's the first thing. You know, you look at his. He looked a lot more toned going into this fight. He looked a lot more kind of fitter and just overall more kind of it's like toned and he had a better kind of structure to his body. So he's got that on his side. And then you've also look at his kind of style of boxing. And he's a very fluent yet powerful boxer. So I think
Yeah.
that obviously helping, you know, the Fury way of slipping and ducking and punch but don't get punched. That you see that in him, but you also see the kind of oncoming beast as such coming towards you with powerful punches. So obviously it's too early to say, you know, this kid can get to it or to get to it. But from watching him, you know, it's promising signs, especially like with under kind of Frank Warren. He'll probably get on. You might even see him on Tyson Fury or Joshua on the card. You know, he might get one of them opportunities. But yeah, I just think he's shown a lot more than some other kind of boxers 5 fights in their career. You know, and yeah. Obviously, Frank needs to put some better quality fighters in front of his way. But you know, for now, I think he's shown potential that he can push on and get to the top.
No, I certainly agree with you. You just need to see more of him to see what he's capable of. I saw a figure this morning. It was something like obviously BT's event. The average viewers was 50,000, and when Tommy Fury was fighting, well over 1 million people tuned in. So it just shows, obviously, after him being on Love Island, there's once you've been on Love Island, there's no reason why you need more fame coming in. But you've already got that following, so you can branch off.
It's massive in the modern game, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that was one thing that interested me. I mean, his fight got more views than Canelo's fight on Saturday.
Really?
So that is saying something. Yeah, Canelo's whenever I was watching the Canelo fight, it was 345,000 on the zone, minus obviously.
So it's like UK figures, I'm assuming.
Pardon?
That's UK figures, I'm assuming.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure the whole of Mexico will be watching Canelo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But yeah, must be UK figures then. Yeah, 100%. Staying on topic of obviously boxing, Saturday morning for us in the UK, but it was at New Zealand. Parker beat Far in didn't he? Unanimous decision.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the fight, but I heard Parker won it convincingly.
Well, the scorecards gave it to him convincingly, but I couldn't. I didn't see him winning it that widely. You know, it was a close event. He looked a different class, but he didn't kind of bully him as such. He held his own fat, and although it probably was right for him to win the bout in the end, it wasn't. I think they gave him like 190, 109. That was just crazy. And so that wouldn't be hard to go for, but. So he looked good. It was just it was a big New Zealand event, wasn't it? So
after that, obviously, there's been speculation of Chisora versus Parker going on after what happened to Parker being bit by a spider for the Prograis versus Taylor card. They meant to fight on there. Chisora ended up fighting Price because obviously Parker got bit by a spider. Making him pull out due to not being able to train and get the best fitness to go into the fight. So there's fight talks, according to Chisora, as of Saturday going on. Who's your pick for that, Freddie? It's a difficult one for me.
It's a good one.
I think it's a good fight, 100%. A good fight.
I think it is slightly well balanced. You could maybe say, I think Chisora has the experience. Parker probably has the more potential. Obviously, more potential with which is already done. But it's almost like they're coming together right at the same level right now. So it should be a good little bout.
Yeah, how old is Parker?
I don't think I think he's around the age of the Joshua Fury, so about 30.
Yeah.
So he's not.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know what
Chisora
Chisora
was
is.
a bit
38.
older than them. I mean, I've got it here that Parker's 28-2 with 21 knockouts. Chisora 32-10 with 23 knockouts. So there's obviously a difference of record between them two, but the people was at Chisora's fault and the people Parker's fault. Parker's fault. What Joshua? Has he? I think he fought. Did he fight Povetkin? I know he fought White. I don't think he's fought Povetkin yet, has he?
No, I can't remember it.
No. I know he fought Andy Ruiz Jr. and beat Andy Ruiz Jr.
Yeah, beat Huey Fury.
Yeah, that was long. Yeah. So he's fought.
He's above the kind of
good people.
Competitor.
I'd say he's a world title challenger.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably just under the kind of the Joshua Wilder Fury lot. I think he's just under. Maybe with Usyk.
Obviously, looking at Chisora's record, he's fought the likes of Tyson Fury, Dylan White twice. Recently losing to Alexander Usyk with a unanimous decision. Well, I thought he got unlucky to a certain degree because it certainly looked like Chisora could have done some damage to him, but Usyk, I felt, did outclass him towards the latter stages of the fight. But yeah, no, it certainly will be an interesting fight. But I'm going to ask you, because you didn't ask the first time, who do you think's going to pull through and get the win?
If I'd go for one, I'd probably go for Parker right now. I feel.
You think?
Yeah, I do want Chisora to win, but as much as he's good level, he's every time he hits that world level, he kind of always spirals down and just loses. So I just can't see it being any different. If he wins, massive for him, really massive, because then we always say this for sure, don't we? If he wins this, he's going up to the world level.
It seems like a recurring thing, doesn't it? After he beat Takam, it put him straight back in the firing line for world title contention fights, not like the Joshua fight, but more like the White fight.
What about you? What do you believe?
I'm going to go with Chisora.
Really?
I honestly do think I think this is going to be his last roll of the dice, I believe, of getting a world.
We always say that with him, don't we? He'll be back.
No, I know we always say it, but I mean, look at his age, mate. Look at. You got to look at it now. This is his last roll of dice. If he doesn't beat Parker, he's the only thing that would make sense is for him to retire. So I think with that in his mind, will have a certain spark to his. I mean, White beat Parker, but second Chisora fight, with White and Chisora with the second fight, until Chisora got sparked out in the 12th, he was up on the scorecards. So it's a funny old game.
It really is.
You never know. Game, but if I was to pick one, it would definitely be Chisora. Right, to round off this podcast, I'm going to ask you a little question.
Mm-hmm.
It's one I've had to think about quite a lot. I think weighing up all the different venues, but what do you believe is the best boxing venue in the world? As like fights, obviously fights. I know you around the world, obviously, America, England, you can pick whatever. What do you feel is the best venue? You look at a super fight and you think, right, it would be brilliant if they could have it here because this is where it's at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, from experience, I've only been, the O2. That's a brilliant arena to go to. I've been to the Cup Box. Yeah, that's a little smaller, but still kind of nice and cramped. So it's a bit of brings up the atmosphere a bit. But say Wembley Stadium, obviously you got to get 90,000 English fans. That's always good to watch and good to feel the atmosphere of that. So I can't exactly remember. There's a place in Australia, and I remember
Australia.
Australia, yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm basing this off the UFC event. I'm flagging it up, but I believe it was Rousey Holm.
The boxing
They fought in
podcast, Fred.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's like swearing, ain't it? But
Yeah.
no, there was some sort of. I think it was Rousey Holm fought in Australia, and it was this massive arena.
I know.
And it was just like kind of everything of the production of it was just on point of that night. And I kind of always looked at that and I was like, wow, imagine kind of having massive boxing. And I'm sure they have. That's just me being uneducated on it. But say either there or, you've got your usual MGM Grands, Madison Square Garden. All of them are good. But yeah.
Just to interrupt you, I've just had a look at it. It was called the Docklands Stadium in Melbourne, Australia, where they had Rousey versus Holm won. So
it'd be interesting to see if there's any other kind of events going on there. I'll have a quick look. But who'd be yours then? Or where would be yours?
I'd simply have to go with the MGM Grand, mate. Just the fact that all the Mayweather era of boxing, that was where it was. All the fights were MGM Grand, Mandela Bay. They're two I would love to go to. I'd love to go to Madison Square Garden. That's it. Staples Center. Them four. I think America have got the best. We've got one of the world's best in Wembley Stadium, but I just don't think it cuts it like the MGM Grand. Just the caliber that the MGM Grand is at.
The history.
Yeah, I mean the fights that have taken place there in Madison Square Garden. Sugar Ray Robinson used to fight at Madison Square Garden. That's how historic it is. But if I had to go with one, definitely go with MGM Grand. It's just I've always wanted to go there and see one of the big title fights. But I think that's going to have to round it off. I think we're out of time now. Thank you for coming on, Fred. It's a pleasure as always. And thank you lot for listening. Until next time.